So here we are going to discuss about how to analyze a performance of an algorithm. So while analyzing performance of an algorithm, these two are the phases. The first one is priori analysis and second one is posteriori analysis. So posteriori analysis is also known as empirical analysis. Empirical analysis. So here priori analysis means it is a theoretical analysis of an algorithm. So here an efficiency of an algorithm is measured by assuming that the factors like processor speed, RAM, and will have these will have no effect on implementation. By assuming that the factors like processor speed is constant and have no effect on the implementation. This is the priori analysis. So second one is posteriori analysis. This is known as empirical analysis. So here the selected algorithm, that means for a problem, so many algorithms are going to develop. So the best algorithm is selected to write in any programming language which will be executed on a target machine based on this analysis only. In this analysis, actual time and space requirements are calculated. It is known as empirical analysis. It is known as empirical analysis. So, performance of an algorithm can be measured in the following ways: by calculating space complexity, time complexity, amortized complexity, asymptotic notations, and performance measurement. These are the five ways to calculate or to mention this performance analysis. So, first we are going to discuss about space complexity. So, here space complexity means what is the requirement of space to execute an algorithm or to store an algorithm. So, here the space complexity is a requirement for the space required for storing instructions. Space required for storing instructions. And second one is the space required to store constant values, and the space required to store variable values. So these are the spaces which will be required for space complexity. So here, first one is instruction space. Instruction space means the space required to store instructions. And second one is environmental stack. So this is the memory requirement which is used to store the details of partially executed functions. Environment stack. So the instructions will be executed so many times, and some algorithms required partial step-by-step process. So the partial values, those are the not final outputs, but these values are used to calculate the final output. Those values are stored in an environment stack. And third one is a data space. Here data space means it is the memory required which will be used to store constant values as well as variable values. That is the data space. These are the three different types of spaces. Instruction space, which will be used to store instructions. Environment stack, which will be used to store temporary values. Data space, which will be used to store variable values and constant values. Okay. So the memory required by an algorithm is increased whenever an input is increased. So memory required to execute an algorithm is increased with the input. If the number of inputs is increased, then memory is also increased to store these inputs. If the number of inputs are decreased, then the memory required to store the values will be decreased. So this is known as linear space complexity. Linear space complexity. So this is the space complexity calculation C plus SP. SP means these are the instance characteristics. Okay. So here a fixed part and variable part is there. Fixed part is, it is independent of number of inputs and the outputs. So it includes instruction space, space for variables, and fixed size components, and space for constraints. So here variable part means it consists of the component variables, reference variables, and recursion stack space. So here recursion, it will be function calls itself is known as recursion. Environment stack will be comes under this part. So this is one of the example to calculate the space complexity. So here this algorithm requires three variables. So each variable it requires one word to store. So here three variables are there. That's why space complexity SP is equal to 3. So any constraint is there, then it will be represented as order of 1. Order of 1. So which will be learned in upcoming sessions. So here it is another algorithm. So here two variables we are going to use. One is array, and another one is the number of elements at a size of array, the number of elements in the array. So here S is another variable and I is another variable. So here N, S, I. These three are the variables which will require three words. So A is another one. It will be depends upon this N. Okay, dependent variable. If N value is 5, A will have 5 elements. If N value is 10, A will have 10 elements. So that's why A requires N words. So A requires N words, and these three variables requires 3 words. That's why N plus 3. So here the constant value will be ignored simply. That's why the space complexity is order of N. So that is the space complexity calculation. Next, coming to time complexity. The time complexity of an algorithm is the amount of computing time it needs to run an algorithm. So amount of time needs to run for the completion of a program. So here a calculation of time complexity will have 2 steps. So here count the number of steps in each iteration, that is 1, and executable statements only we need to calculate. So it will not depend on instance characteristics. So same way, once a program is compiled, it will be run number of times without recompilation. So that's why here C plus TP is the time complexity calculation. So here to calculate time complexity, sum of elements in an array. So this is the way of calculating time complexity. So statement number and the statement S by E. That means executed or not frequency. If the statement is going to be executed on a system, then here it will specify how many number of times it will be executed. So here total number of steps. These two values are get multiplied to generate total number of steps. So here this is an header line. That's why it will not be executed. That's why we will put it as 0. And the statement is not going to be executed. That's why the frequency may not be specified here. Then this is these two curly braces, which will be a syntax. and these two statements are not going to be executed or processed anything, processed nothing. That's why these two are also 0, 0. So here s is equal to 0. That means s is a variable and the value of 0 is assigned to this s. That's why it is executed 1 and the frequency is 1. Only one time initialization. So here this is a looping statement. So the looping statement is executed n plus 1 times because here the n number of times the loop will get executed. Whenever the n value is reaches, then the loop comes out of that one. That means uh, all the true conditions plus one false condition here we are going to check. That's why n plus 1 times. So, but the statements which is inside in the for loop will be, for loop or any loop will be executed only n number of times. Written yes. This is also an output statement, sorry, executable statement. That's why one time it will be going to be executed and all these two values get multiplied. The sum of all the values are 2n plus 3. So 2n plus 3 is the time complexity. That means 2n plus 3 step count. This is a step count method. This is an example for step count method. So this is another example. So here outer loop will get executed m plus 1 times. Inner loop will executed n plus 1 times. Because of this is inner loop, m times it will be multiplied. And this statement, this is m times, it is n times. That's why these statements are executed m by n times. So this is also another example. Amortized complexity, next one. So here amortized complexity is it counts the total number of total expense for an operation evaluated over a sequence of operations. So here we are going to calculate the value of the cost for each and every operation. For these three types of methods are there. One is aggregate method, second one is accounting method, and third one is potential method. These are the three methods for amortized complexity. So next one is asymptotic notations. Here three types of notations are there. First one is best case complexity, second one is our average case complexity, third one is worst case complexity. So here the best case complexity represents minimum amount of time required to execute an algorithm. Worst case, that is a maximum amount of time to execute an algorithm. So here average case means it will be in between minimum time and maximum time. So here the problem is to sorting a numbers. If the input is in this order, already in the sorted order, then the less time is required to arrange these elements in sorted order. Same way here, all the numbers are in descending order. We need to arrange in ascending order. That's why each and every element should be replaced or should be rearranged. That's why here maximum amount of time required. In this, the input, some numbers are in sorted order and some are unsorted order. So here we don't want to rearrange these three elements, and these three elements should be rearranged. So that's why half is sorted order, half is unsorted order. It will require the time in between minimum time and maximum time. So these are the three complexities. All these three complexities will be notified as some notations. So these are the notations. First one is big O notation. Big O notation is a method of representing upper bound of algorithms. That means worst case complexity we are going to represent with the big O notation. So this is the big O notation. In any program based upon the inputs, this is the maximum time to execute an algorithm. So here f and g are the two functions. F of n is equal to order of g of n. Only if f of n That means the function is less than or equal to c into g of n. So this is the output of the function. This is the maximum time to get the output. So this is the calculation part. Here I am going to explain in the examination point of view. So 3n square plus 5, this is the condition. So here we are going to check the values by substituting n value as 1. Okay. So whenever this condition gets true, then that is the output. So here the simple way is calculating the highest power value. So here x cube, this is the highest power value. That's why Big O notation, worst case complexity is order of n cube. So here order of n square. What is the highest value power? That is the Big O notation. So here for this is order of n square. Log n is there. That's why n log n is the order. 3 power 3 is there. Power 2. Here also power 3 is there. That is the Big O notations. Same way omega notation. Omega notation is used to calculate to represent best case complexity. That means this is the minimum time requirement. So here whatever the least power value, that will be considered as omega. Here omega n square. Order of n log n, it will be same for Big O notation and omega notations. So here theta notation. Theta is in between omega and Big O because it is an average case complexity. So this is also represented as theta is also will be the least power. So next one is performance measurement. Here performance measurement is to calculate space and time requirements. Which algorithm will take less space and less time, it will be the good algorithm, and its performance is very better performance and compared to other ones. This is the performance measurement. Here little o algorithm is there. Little o means, so this is the example. Okay, so here Big O is calculated including that value. Here order of n square, these are some other orders in order of growth. This n square is included in this set as one of the value. But little o, this value is not eliminated, value is not shown here. So that means smaller than rate of growth. This is smaller or equal to that rate of growth. That is the difference between little o and big O. So here the next concept is order of growth. So order of growth means analyzing how we are going to analyze how the running time is increases when the input is increased. Just like we are going to add two numbers in fraction of seconds. The same thing, addition is same, but the input is increased. That means we are going to add three numbers in 3 seconds. Same way 100 numbers in 100 seconds. So whenever the input size increases, the running time is also maybe increased. So these are the inputs and this is the growth of that functions. If the input is 1, the constant value log n logarithm n is linear, n log n, n square quadratic, n cube cubic, 2 power n exponential, n factorial, this is n factorial. So these are the values. When n value is 1, this is the output time, log n, n square and n cube and n factorial. These are the values. So 2 log n, n square 4 times and so on. So this is order of growth. So these are the techniques which we are going to learn in the upcoming units. First one is divide and conquer strategy, and second one is greedy method, third one is dynamic programming, fourth one is backtracking, and fifth one is branch and bound. So first one is divide and conquer. In this technique, all the problems are divided into so many subparts and each and every problem is solved independently. And it will not guarantee that it will give an optimum input. Same way, the second technique is greedy technique. Here the problems are solved which are not having any division technique. So it will gives an optimum input. Next one, dynamic programming. It also gives an optimum input, but the problem is works in stages. Previous stage output is taken as input to the next stage. Same way, backtracking is another technique. Last one is branch and bound technique. All these five techniques which we'll learn in upcoming units.